To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, before we go outside, I wanted to show you our little experiment that I showed you exactly 10 days ago and I think 19 hours. This is our cured pork. This is a pork butt. It was almost 8 pounds of pork. We cured it with salt, Morton's Cure Salt. It's been sitting outside for 10 days. We have not refrigerated, except for the first 3 days. I took it out and refrigerated it because you're supposed to refrigerate it as the salt is getting cured into the meat. After that, I took it out and I've stuck it under the bed. Now, I wish you could smell this. I really do. So I'm going to put the camera up to the meat and I want you to take a big sniff. Now, of course, you didn't smell anything, right? Exactly. There is absolutely no smell, and it's been sitting out for 10 days. In a few more days, I'm going to cut into this meat. I'm not going to cook the whole thing in front of the camera. I'm just going to slice off a piece. I'm going to put it on the grill, and I'll cook it. And then Carolyn and I have the rest of it that night. Now, before I go outside, as of the recording of this video, about 650,000 people in Texas are still without power from this big storm we had. I really have been thinking about this a lot. Been watching a lot of prepper channels here lately. I don't know why they're showing up my feed. I watch them and I think, man, well, kinda, yeah. But when you're living a lifestyle, I mean, the actual off-grid lifestyle, apparently you don't have to be a prepper. You just are prepared. It's just there. And so I find it interesting what preppers don't know. And I just watched one guy. He doesn't know a lot of things that are just kind of common knowledge to me. But the thing is I was watching him and I started to think, okay, this guy doesn't know anything, so obviously he's not worth the salt. But he was. Once I really relaxed for a minute and I thought, wait a minute, he has learned something and he's sharing it with his viewers on how to be a prepper. Now, I have said many times I'm not a prepper. I just want to live free. And right here, this past week with this major snowstorm, I mean, we are buried. I can't get out. The road is still buried. The only thing moving here recently are the deer. It snowed again this morning. I was going to shovel out this morning, but it snowed again, so I'm going to wait until this weekend. Well, of course, I don't have TV. Watch YouTube videos for our news. All I see is people telling us, we're out of power, we're out of power, we're out of power. Well, I'm not out of power. I mean, I've had a couple minor issues. The batteries drained a little faster than I expected one day. The solar panels have struggled on cloudy days. It's not so much that the snow is covering the solar panels. I've said this before, that there was a day or two I had problems with the ice. Once you get the ice off of it, the solar panels stay pretty clean. You can sweep the snow off it pretty easily. The problem I'm having is it was snowing so hard that it was blocking the snow in the air, you know, falling to the ground, was blocking any sunlight. So my solar panels weren't kicking on. But that's okay. I was able to charge my batteries with my generator right here. This thing sips gas. I mean, you can get industrial ones and it'll tank of gas, maybe a gallon of gas will last 3 hours. A gallon of gas on this lasts 11 hours. Before the storm hit, I got 2 jugs of gas, and I haven't even opened into the second one. This one, yeah, it's still about half full, and I've ran it quite a bit. One day I ran it all day pretty much because the batteries were depleted so badly from the cold. The cold sapped the energy out of it, so I drained them pretty bad. You're not supposed to drain them below 12.3 volts. So I had to rejuvenate them. So the batteries are like new now. I got them all cleaned up. And the solar panels, you can see all the snow that I've swept off of them. But days like this, where it's partly cloudy, partly sunny, whatever you want to call it, batteries are fully charged right now. And I think it's 9:30 right now, 10 o'clock at the latest. Now the key to this is minimizing your lifestyle. You can't have a lot of stuff. Now we are going to upgrade, and I've been looking into this, we're going to upgrade to a full-size refrigerator. So right now our refrigerator, if it was to run for 1 straight hour, would use 90 watts for that hour. And we're going to upgrade to a full-size one, which would be 150 watts if you ran it for 1 full hour. Of course, you don't run refrigerators for 1 full hour. They run for about 15 minutes and shut off. I got to thinking, all these preppers say you got to have a generator, got to have a generator, got to have a generator. Yeah, it would be nice if you had a generator, but right now gas stations in Texas are not open. So where are you going to get the gas? If you're running an industrial generator and it takes a gallon of gas every 3 hours, you're going to be through a jug of gas in a day. Now, if you can do what I do and just run it 3 or 4 hours to charge up your batteries, a lot better shape there. And here's my inverter running right now. I'm going to take you back into the camper. It's messy in there. I've said this in the last video, and of course everybody still complained about how messy it is in there. But we are literally ripping it apart so we can make it into a shed. So this is not how we lived. But you might be able to hear the hum of the inverter. My eyes and the camera both have to adjust because it's darker in here than it was outside. So here you have the inverter. What the inverter does is it changes battery electricity, right here, the battery, into plug-in electricity. So it turns car electricity into house electricity. I don't know how anybody can live without them. And they're not expensive. You can go to Walmart and pick one of these up, 1,000 watts. I think for 80 to 100 bucks. I mean, they're pretty cheap. Now, if you're thinking about a generator, think about that. That generator out there showed you it's probably $450. I mean, it's well worth it, don't get me wrong. It's 2 years old. It starts like it's new. But if you're looking to just get through some emergencies, I have this idea that it came to me. I had actually done this before. When this camper was on the truck, I actually tied these batteries into the truck. So every time I turned the truck on, these batteries would charge along with the truck battery. And it would also turn this on. Of course, you know, this thing's running. So I had an idea. If you're looking to overcome emergencies and you don't have solar panels and all that, go get yourself an inverter. This is not a perfect solution, but most people actually, believe it or not, already own a generator. If they go and get an inverter, they already own a generator. Your car produces electricity, produces DC electricity. So if you're stuck at home, no electricity, and your refrigerator hasn't ran in 6 hours and you're afraid the meat's going to go bad, start your car. Put the inverter on the battery. You get red to positive, black to negative on your battery, just like you're going to jump a car. Of course, if you get it reversed, the inverter is going to tell you, no, it's backwards. So it's no big deal. And then all you have to do is run an extension cord, plug it into the inverter, like I showed you in there, and plug it into the refrigerator. Of course, you got to have the car on. Make sure your car's on. Those little batteries in the car would never be able to do that. You got to have RV deep cycle batteries in order to do it. But if the car's running, you can do this. That would at least get your refrigerator to run for a half hour or so, get everything to freeze back up, and then you can shut it off for another 6 hours. It's not the greatest solution in the world. Now, where a lot of people get wrong thinking is they want to run everything. And you can't run everything. You just can't. If you think you're going to turn on your TV and your cable box and your Wi-Fi and all that, you're just not going to be able to do it. Even on a generator, if you had a 3,500 watt generator, you're going to run out of wattage pretty quick. Space heaters, you're not going to be able to run a space heater. Space heater on full blast is 1,500 watts. Well, this inverter is 1,000 watts, so you're already over. So you have to be able to think about, how am I going to figure out what my inverter is going to run or how much electricity I'm going to run? And it's a real simple equation. And I would ask that you write it down. Volts. Volts. So if you look at the tag on the back of your refrigerator, volts. It should say like 110 or 120. House electricity is 110 volts or 120 volts, 110 volts. And then you have amps. So it's volts times amps. Again, the tag on the back of your refrigerator is going to tell you how many amps you're going to have. Volts times amps equals watts. So if you have 110 volts And 1 amp, that's 110 watts. Or 2 amps, 110 volts, and 2 amps is 220 watts. So that's how you figure it out. So then you'll be able to figure out, can I run my refrigerator on my inverter? Can I run my refrigerator on my generator? And so you go around and you look at all the appliances you want to run in your house, and you just keep doing that calculation. And then you can just start adding it up. My generator can run, 1,000 watts. Said 110 times 2 amps is 220. So that means you got 780 watts to go. Now remember, when you're running on the car, you're running gasoline. And you're going to run out of gasoline pretty quick. So you don't want to do this long term. It's a short-term solution for, just to get things going. I hope I can inspire you to find at least a little freedom. Thanks for watching.